Hello everyone. In this session, we will be dealing with the floral morphology, more details about the variations in the various whorls. The calyx and the corolla, the non-essential whorls, they may have fusion or they may be free. So when there is a fusion in the parts of the calyx, we refer to them as the gamosepalous, while the free sepals in the calyx, it's referred to as polysepalous. In the same way, we have the gamopetalous corolla for the fused petals and polypetalous corolla for the free petals. The shape and the color of the calyx also varies in various plants, and these are the various shapes that they take up. It may be tubular, like a tube, or infundibuliform, like a funnel, or bell-shaped, like when it's called campanulate, etc. So you have various shapes that are taken up by the calyx and the corolla. Now going into another aspect, which is the perianth, where there is no differentiation of the calyx and the corolla. The undifferentiated calyx and corolla is termed as perianth, and the individual members are referred to as the tepals or fills. Now when there is this undifferentiated perianth condition, the flower is termed as monoclemmadious, while a flower with the differentiated calyx and corolla is termed diclemmadious. Now going into variation in the case of stamens. Now there may be fusion of the stamens in the form of two types, that is, one, cohesion, wherein the stamens fuse among themselves, or else it may be adhesion, where the stamens may fuse with the other parts of the flower, namely the petals on the outside or the gynecium inside. In the first case, we take adhesion, we find the epipetalous condition where the stamens are fused with the petals, or epiphyllous when they are attached to the tepals. There is the second case, which is gynandrous condition, where the stamens, or that is the andrecium, fuses with the gynecium as seen in the orchids. Now going into the cohesion. Now if there is no fusion among the stamens, we refer to as a polyandrous condition, while fusion in the case of cohesion may be of various types. The first one is adelphi, wherein the stamens are united by means of their filaments and the anthers are free. When they are united to form a single bundle, they are called monadelphous, or they may be fused to form two bundles called diadelphous, or they may form many bundles, then we consider them as polyadelphous. Look at the diagrams. This is monadelphous, single bundle, diadelphous, two, and polyadelphous, many bundles. Now, the exact opposite of the adelphous condition is syngenaceous condition, where the anthers are fused to form a cylinder-like structure while the filaments are free. This is seen in the Asteraceae family. It's a characteristic of all such flowers. Then you have the synandrous condition, wherein both the anthers and the filaments are fused to form a single structure, as in the case of the cucurbites. Now we move into the variation seen in the carpels. Now again, whether they are fused or free. The fused condition of the carpels referred to as syncarpus, while the free condition referred to as apocarpus. The number of carpels is also important. We have monocarpellary for a single one, bicarpellary for two, tricarpellary 3, tetra for 4, penta for 5, and multicarpellary for more than 5. The number of locules per or the chambers per ovary also is important. You have unilocular for a single chamber, bilocular 2, trilocular 3, tetralocular 4, pentalocular 5, and multilocular for more than 5. Now we will go into the importance of the placenta. That is a mode of arrangement of the ovules by means of their placenta within the ovary is referred to as placentation. Now we have different types of placentation: marginal, axile, parietal, basal, central, and free central. Now, the first one, marginal, forming a ridge along the ventral suture, and the ovules are born on this ridge, as in the case of P, only on one margin. Then you have the axile placentation, where the placenta are found along the axis, the central axis, wherein you might find a number of chambers, as in the case of lemon and orange. In the case of parietal placentation, it is the ovules that found on the inner wall of the ovary, wherein the number of chambers may be unilocular but becomes multilocular due to the formation of false septum. Then we have the free central placentation, where the ovules are born on a single placenta which does not reach the top. And here the septa are absent. This is in the case of dianthus and primrose. Then we have the basal placentation, where a single ovule is found at the base, as in the case of the Asteraceae family. The last one is a rare one, the superficial placentation, where you have the placenta found all over the inner walls as well as the chambers and the axis of the ovary, as in the case of water lily. So here, thus we have learned the different types of placentation: marginal, axile, parietal, basal, free central and superficial. So the diagrams show the arrangement of the ovules. Thank you.